We are creating another beautiful ugly quilt. Here I am at the sewing machine today. In a previous video, I showed you how I made these quilt blocks out of Orphan blocks and scrap fabric. And here I simply separated each row, so I have 3 blocks per row, and I pinned each of the blocks together for each row to make it easier on myself. I'll be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance to connect each of the blocks, and I did put on my 1/4 inch presser foot. To make the sewing go a lot faster, I did do chain piecing. That simply means one right after the other without breaking the thread. There were instances where I did break the thread, and that was only because of a space limitation. So as much as I can fit behind the sewing machine, I will do chain piecing anytime. You do want to take the time to backstitch at the beginning and at the end of your sewing. After you finish sewing the 3 blocks together for each row, you will want to give everything a good press. Let's go over the materials you're going to need to make your ugly quilt. Here I have 5 pieces of flannel, but you could use batting. They measure 12 inches by 36 inches. Here I have 5 pieces of backing fabric, and I'm just using leftover muslin, and they are also 12 inches by 36 inches. You'll need some embroidery thread because today we are going to just tie our quilt. And you'll need binding strips if you're going to be binding your quilt. We are ready to assemble our beautiful ugly quilt. Quilt number 2. The first thing we're going to do is lay down a piece of batting. In our case, it's the flannel. This is 12 by 36 inches. And we'll just lay it on there. And then we'll need a backing piece right side up, just like that. And again, this is 36 by 12. Get everything lined up just like that. A backing piece right side down, and I'm using muslin, and this will be for the first 2 rows. Another piece of batting or flannel, whichever you're using. Then row number 1 is right side up, and we are going to have some overhang on the sides because I cut them to 36 inches, and our blocks were 12 inches. However, when we sewed them, we lost a 1/2 inch, and that's fine because then we can trim up the sides. You just want to make sure they're lined up with the 2 backing fabrics, and there's enough on each side. And let's make sure over here, yes, because here's our backing and here is our quilt top, and here's our backing and there's our quilt top. So that'll be perfect. Row number 2 is right side down, right on top of that quilt top for row number 1. And I am going to go ahead and trim now those sides off. Now we have row 1 and row 2 ready to connect at the serger, or if you're using the sewing machine, on your sewing machine you use an overlock stitch, and you'll want to use your walking foot because this is a heavy-duty sandwich to get started with. So we have batting, backing piece right side up, backing piece right side down, a piece of batting or flannel, row number 1 and row number 2. And then you'll just want to make sure where you're going to sew because row number 2 is this for me. So I know that I want to sew over here. And then I wanted to show you something we're going to try today. I had all these clips, they're hair clips, from when I used to make fabric bracelets. I thought I would try that on these to take it to the serger. instead of my little clips. Just making sure my edges are straight here. But they slide underneath really nice. And we're going to give that a shot at the serger. And I think that will work. And I'm going to go to the serger and sew along this edge. When I have that done, I'll be right back. I am back from the serger. And I'm just looking to make sure I didn't miss any spots. That looks pretty good. Grab your 2 backing fabrics, shake that out. And look at that. Row 1 and row 2 have been put together. And so easy. And if you need to, go ahead and shake it out. Now we need to connect row 3, 4, and 5. And it is a little different than connecting row 1 and 2. Here is row 3. What we need to do is place a piece of our backing fabric right side up with the right side of the backing from row 2. So just lay this backing right side up. This will be right side together with row 2. Just line up that backing. All right, this is lined up. There we go. We're layering row 3 on top of row 2, right sides together, making sure everything lines up at the bottom. Just like that. And then a piece of batting, or flannel in our case. All right, everything is lined up. And I'll check one more time. I'll clip these really well so nothing shifts. And here everything is clipped. Everything lines up. I'll do just a tad bit of trimming over here on this flannel. And on this side, just a little. I am off to the serger, and we'll be ready for row 4 when I get back. All right, let's take a peek. We just added row 3. Make sure that you caught everything. Here's the back. Looks like I caught everything. I just need to line up those edges on the bottom. And I think I will clip. Maybe that would help in lining up those bottom edges as I'm adding on that 4th row. Okay, maybe that will help. And I've just been rolling up the top here so we can work with it. It's coming along. Then we need our backing fabric. Right side up underneath here. So right sides to right side on the backing fabric. And then I think I will pull this clip to keep that lined up. That might have been the trick, just doing the small clips to keep those bottom edges lined up. There we go. Okay. Then we need row 4. right side together with row 3. Line up the bottom. Perfect. And then a piece of batting. Just like that. Line up the bottoms. We're going to clip again with the big clips now because we're almost ready to go the serger again. And I do believe these big clips really make a difference. Make sure everything is lined up on the bottom. The sides we can trim. I am off to the serger again. Make sure I got all the little clips out. And I've just been rolling it as I go along. When I have this sewn, I'll be right back. Okay, row 4 is attached. I know it seems like really wonky, guys, but don't let my struggle discourage you. I just don't have enough room here in this setup, but I would encourage you to give this a shot. Okay, so here is row 4. Let's roll up this top. We only have one more row to go. Isn't that amazing? And just check and make sure everything caught. Yep, no problem there. Perfect. Well, not quite perfect, but good enough for what we're doing, right? All right, for row 5, our backing fabric is going to be right side up. So we need to lay that out because it's going to be right sides with this backing fabric. Okay, we're lining up pretty good with this one. So I think I can go ahead with these clips over here. Got that, and line these two up. Whatever works best for you for lining this up. It could be laying it out on the floor. That might be a good idea. And the only space I have for that is in the living room, and it's very dark in the living room. Okay, and then our last row, right sides here, right sides together. Put these together like that. And then I want to make sure I'm a little over there. Am I good here? I think I need to bring this over a little. Okay, awesome. Let me get to the serger and get this last row attached. Oh, I almost forgot. This would not have been good. We have to add the last piece of flannel. I know that you are all screaming on there, Jackie, the flannel. Okay, there we go. All right, now I'm off to the serger. Now look at that. Just from scrap fabric. What do you think? All I need to do is get some binding on it. I did want to show you real quick how to tie these if you did not want to quilt them on your home machine. It's really easy, so I'll bring it to the table. I just have some cream colored embroidery thread. It's 6 strand, and I am going to leave it 6 strands. And then I just take maybe an arm's length. Then I double it up. So now we are working with 12 strands. You'll want a needle with a large eye to get all those strands in there. And I did it. And now it looks this thick. What you're going to do is wherever you want your tie to be, that's where you'll go in. I'm just going to do kind of in the center of each block. So, for example, we know that this is the center here. So just go down in there, pull, but don't pull all the way. Leave enough so that you can come back up and tie that off. Then come back up through, not the same hole, but near it. Hold on to this, pull it up, and tie it off. Hopefully you can see that. Just an overhand knot twice. And then whatever you want to leave. I leave about 1 inch. And there you have it. And I'll try to get you in closer so you can see that. Or I'll just bring the quilt up to the camera. How's that? And that's what it looks like. All right, I'm going to finish that up. I'm going to finish up the binding, and then I'll be back to show you the quilt. Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a Bible verse and a little message to encourage you. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9, verse 6. This beautiful verse reminds us of God's precious gift, His Son, our ultimate comforter and counselor. Just like each piece of fabric in our quilt, our lives are woven together by His grace, creating something unique, comforting, and full of purpose. May you find peace in knowing that you are held together by His endless love. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and commenting. It means the world to me. And until the next video, God bless you.